Hey, this is Brooks with Character Design Forge, but for just a second, let's assume that let's go with Dylan. My friend Dylan doesn't draw at all, so he's a safe hypothetical character to use in this situation. If your name is Dylan, hey Dylan, hopefully this isn't a personal attack on your art circumstance. Now I, Dylan, would like to draw what are typically called cartoons, stylized characters or character designs, and use them in things like comics, animations, stuff along those lines. Now I, Dylan, have been inspired by watching, reading, observing existing properties, existing characters, and a little part of me is saying, how hard could this be? And I set off creating. Here's an even more basic version of that scenario. When you were a kid, there's a good chance that you drew existing characters for fun. Let's use Mickey Mouse as an example. Now, obviously, you were just a kid, it was for fun, and you were learning. Your skills weren't quite there. But if you took that drawing that a child did and compared it to the original drawing of Mickey Mouse that a Disney artist did, what's the difference? Well, that original artist had an understanding of the character's construction, their gesture, what things to exaggerate when. And the child's drawing probably was just an outline, a copy of the original, a cartoon of a cartoon. Now that's a really extreme example, but it's a problem that can continue to persist even as you grow as an artist. So let's get back to Dylan. Dylan has three main issues that really orbit around one core problem. The first thing is that Dylan is imitating something that was drawn the wrong way in the first place. I've said it plenty of times before that stylization is drawing something the wrong way intentionally. The second issue is that he lacks the experience to draw those things the right way first. One of the biggest mistakes or assumptions that people make when it comes to cartoons or stylized art is that they assume that because something looks simple, it must have been simple or easy to create. And they look at, say, a realistic painting and say, that must have been difficult, so then I guess cartoons are on the other end of the spectrum and are easy. In reality, though, they're just a slightly different set of disciplines. In the same way that a good audio engineer is one that you don't notice, a well-designed character is often meant to just look simple. In reality, though, it took experienced people tons of hours to create those characters. There's something that comes up every once in a while in interviews or behind-the-scenes material where a designer or artist will say something along the lines of, "Our intention was to create a character so simple that a child could draw it." And I completely understand what that artist or designer means. Design is all about communication, and a simple, iconic design is an art form in itself. The easier your communication is, the more people you can communicate to. But my fear is that people misinterpret that statement the artist makes, as if it's so easy to draw or design this character that a child could do it. Kind of the same as how people will claim that kids are smart for being able to use iPads instead of giving credit to the UX designer who made that iPad easy and simple to use. I'm kind of getting off base here, but hopefully if you're watching this, you already understand that good art and design takes skill, but I think that doesn't really click for a lot of people. In addition to their time practicing and drawing stylized characters, the successful artists out there have also spent time studying realism and the fundamentals of art. Really, the only difference here is that when a realistic image turns out poorly, it looks strange. But when a stylized image turns out poorly, it can be just chalked up to style. But that's a trap, and you shouldn't fall in it. Dylan's third issue is that he's interpreting something that's already been interpreted. Now, the best way that I can put this is, imagine if aliens came to our planet, and upon seeing a Bugs Bunny cartoon, they decided that that's what rabbits look like. Now they go to make their own rabbit character design, and all the while it's based off of bugs. Now you can see how skewed their art would become if it was based not off of an original thing, but an animated interpretation of that thing. If every drawing of a squid was based off of Squidward, that would be terrifying. And if every drawing of a dog was based off of Jake, it would be really simplistic and maybe a little stretchy. Now, of course, there's a degree to which you can get away with this and be inspired by existing stylized characters. But if that's your only source of inspiration, it's definitely going to come off derivative and uninformed. I'm sorry to pick on some of you guys for this, but it's similar when someone only learns to draw by observing anime, and all of the telltale signs are visible from far away. Now, if you're looking to make anime as your end result, realize that anime artists started by learning to draw things realistically and then distilling those things down into their style. And at this point, we've reached that core problem that we were talking about. When you create a character design, you start with a real-life thing, or at least pieces of real-life things that inform something new. You simplify, exaggerate, distill those things down into a stylized character, a character design, a cartoon, whatever you want to call it. Character design is about boiling something down to its essence and then saying something with it. But trying to start with a final product and distilling it down, or even worse, learning from those final products, it'll result in a wonky, misshapen creation. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't learn by looking at other artists' finished work, but what I am saying is that if that's all you do, there will be significant gaps in your learning and skills that will be very apparent for other people seeing your work. You just can't skip the fundamentals. So if you're learning to stylize by looking at other people's work, just make sure that you back those things up with drawing things the right way too. Really try to make this funnel a part of your process too, where you start with multiple sources of inspiration or reference, things that are real or somewhat realistic, and stir those things up, boil and distill them down into your final designs. If you haven't already seen it, I did a video recently called How to Draw 10 Times Better by Using Reference, and my little brother Tristan's in it, if that's enough incentive for you to watch it. So make sure to check it out after this one. Ultimately, there are a lot of don'ts and cautions in this video, but I always want you to leave my videos not discouraged, but encouraged. I really believe that with a lot of diligence and practice, you can succeed in what you're trying to do. It just takes a couple little course corrections along the way, but ultimately I always end my videos saying have fun creating, and so I never want you to lose that element of fun. Just do your diligence too. Do diligence. Have diligent. Be good. I make 2 new videos a week here on Character Design Forge, and hitting subscribe and the bell thing is the only way you'll get actually notified that I put up a new video. Funny how that works, because when you hit subscribe, it wasn't enough. Never enough. My username is BagelDenizen on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, and if you'd like to support me and this channel, you can go to patreon.com/BagelDenizen and get a ton of things in return, including a personalized video critique of your work. One of those little course correction things, one of those little due diligence things to get you back to having fun, but just helping you get better. It's a really great way to level up your art and support the channel in return. Thanks to all these people who are currently supporting. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and have fun creating.